Rachel Wilson. I'm 16. It's just been the one thing that I've always loved to do, just how it feels to be on a board. It's like nothing else. I started surfing when I was 8 years old. My brother took me out and he pushed me on whitewater, little baby waves, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was 11 is when I started competing, and then when I was 12 I started winning my local ESAs and did ECSC and made it to a few finals when I was about 13, 14. The next year I won ECSC for the Open Women's Shortboard division.
Sets up the inside, floater.
This past year I won U18 shortboard at Easterns.
Rachel Wilson back to the lead.
Which is my biggest amateur win. It took me a few years to get used to surfing different boards and learning how to turn and do bigger contests and actually learn how to form a heat and how to surf well and perform your best in 15 or 20 minutes. Starting right now is really a good age to be getting into bigger pros and start traveling more. My goal is by 19 or 20 to qualify for the World Tour. It's the top 17 girls in the entire world that compete against each other in 10 events, and whoever has done the best in all 10 events gets the world title. I've always loved surfing, and especially as I've gotten older, I've just loved it more and more. It's really been great for me to be able to get out and have friends that also surf. I just really love the competitive environment and surfing my best against other really amazing surfers.
Holy mackerel.
Jen Coltis says when she was planning her 4-year-old son's birthday party, she never expected this.
I had no idea there were going to be that many cars and that many officers, and it was more than I could have ever asked for.
Weeks ago, Jen reached out online for some help in surprising her son Carter, who is obsessed with being a police officer at his birthday party. Once she got in touch with someone, she figured one officer would stop by during the party, but they got so much more. Everyone was surprised. Carter, a bit confused.
In the video, you can clearly hear him say why at some point, and we were trying to explain to him that they were there for him, and he's like, why?
Why?
Eventually, he warmed up to the idea. Several deputies with the York-Poquoson Sheriff's Office showed up to make his birthday one to remember.
He's tearing up, I'm crying. We were a big mess because we knew how much that meant to Carter.
So for a few moments Saturday afternoon, Carter's dreams came true.
For these men and women to just take time out of their day and come say hi to a 4-year-old at his birthday party and share their cars and share their stories and everything with them. I mean, thank you is pretty much all I have, but it's not enough. These are men and women who put their lives on the line for us, and for them to just take that time out meant the world to our family.
Veterans and their families made their way out to the Tidewater Veterans Parade here in Virginia Beach, and also to the ceremony that was held at the memorial here behind me. Families tell me that it's their responsibility to pay respects to those who have served. The day kicked off with the parade, where there were more than 120 groups that marched or performed in it. The parade started at 9 and then ended near the Tidewater Veterans Memorial. It was here a ceremony was held to remember those who have died fighting for our country, veterans who have served, and those who are still serving. We spoke with one woman who says her family members were in the military. She says she brings her family out to the events so they know the true meaning of Veterans Day.
These people put their lives on the line every day, whether they decide to enlist and they currently serve, and even after they retire. It is always a recognized honor to represent this country, absolutely, and to have it so close to home, there's always a connection to it.
We spoke to a bunch of veterans about what today means for them. You'll hear from them coming up on WAVY News 10 at 5. Reporting in Virginia Beach, Deanna Betteneschi, 10 on your side.
There's something about a coffee shop that pulls you in. Here at Sweet Beans, it's the smiles you'll see behind the counter.
Okay, I'm so sorry. We're just talking.
This coffee shop is Mallory Ruggs' passion project, but first it was an idea. 10 years ago, she worked as a barista when her husband first enlisted in the Army.
I just figured out what I want to do for the rest of my life.
But first, she felt called to serve and joined the Navy in 2012.
I was a fire controlman, I was a spy technician.
That's when she met her friend, Heather Amadeo.
Her husband and I had the same job.
Their families became close, the military moving them apart and then bringing them both to Norfolk in 2017. Mallory finished her enlistment, but still works on base as an instructor. The two women got to work on their coffee shop.
It would be endless nights of just working on the business plan, working on what we needed to sell, how we were going to sell it, and it was just hair pulling sometimes.
But finally, they got a loan and they found this spot not far from NASA Langley. They opened in May and already have loyal customers, some who are surprised to learn that the shop is owned by two women, one who's a veteran.
I understand why there is a stereotype. However, I look forward to being able to break that stereotype.
Mallory and Heather are determined to help other women, giving them advice on how to start their own businesses, paying it forward.
It's a very empowering feeling knowing that we were able to help somebody else make their dream come true.
Using their training, their story, and their voices to inspire female veterans and beyond. For Veterans Voice,
I was utterly shocked.
Stacey Speck says she feels violated after learning her former OBGYN may not have been as trustworthy as she had thought.
Like I said, he was, I thought, a decent guy. He was always nice to me and my family, super sweet. I had to catch my breath for a second.
69-year-old Javid Perez is a popular OBGYN in the area. He's also behind bars today, facing healthcare fraud charges. Court documents reveal Perez allegedly treated several patients with procedures like hysterectomies and tubal ligation under pressure or without their knowledge for at least 4 years. One woman revealed she's no longer able to bear children. Now, former patients like Stacey are second-guessing their own health after his care.
I thought my insides were just, taking a while to heal because I had 2 C-sections within 2 years. But now I'm like, all right, maybe this pain, from hysterically laughing or, these random stomach cramps could be something else.
Perez has a history with the law. In the affidavit, it reveals he lost privileges at Maryview Hospital in Portsmouth due to performing unnecessary surgeries in 1982. He also pled guilty to tax evasion in 1996 and lost his medical license. In addition, he has been the subject in at least 8 malpractice suits. Stacey says she thought she knew who was treating her family, but now has a totally different view.
I feel violated. It's just gross to think about that somebody would do that.
Callers advising of a male in front of building 2, possibly shot.
That's the first scanner traffic, unraveling the May 31st tragedy. On the 2nd floor of Building 2, this person, who does not want to be identified, whose name we changed to Jane, worked with Keith Cox in Public Utilities.
Pushed the cabinet up to the door, and we're like, Keith, come in. And he said, no, I got to make sure everybody is okay.
That was the last time Jane saw Mr. Cox, who was killed shortly after that moment.
Everything that happened before that, it led up to what happened. And it absolutely could have been prevented.
The city says there is no evidence of that, but Jane blames the shooting in part on a toxic work environment that she thinks impacted the shooter and has impacted her.
Using your title to belittle and degrade, and it happens on a daily basis.
She is telling the truth. There have been times where I would walk by her cubicle and she's sitting there crying.
Tom Colson works in Public Utilities, came face to face with the shooter 3 times.
It felt like they were targeting her.
Colson worked with Jane in Building 2. She suffered migraines, causing earaches and eye sensitivity to light. When the human resource liaison refused to help Jane, it was Colson who came to her aid.
I took it upon myself to use some paper clips and put a piece of cardboard over the light so it wouldn't go directly on the individual.
The nitpicking and the nitpicking and the nitpicking.
But Jane says 2 weeks before 5/31, that supervisor suddenly left. The city would not confirm why.
In a city this large and departments that large, that there are pockets of toxicity.
Linda Ramia says that as city auditor, he would have a pulse on widespread toxic workplace, but says he doesn't see that.
I didn't work on the 2nd floor, but I know people were unhappy down there.
Public Works employee Rebecca Lear has worked for Virginia Beach 25 years, understands how Jane feels about a toxic work environment.
Nobody came to work on the 3rd floor dreading coming into the environment.
Jane and Lear are two of 3,441 city employees who completed this 2019 Quality of Work Life Survey in February. Acting Virginia Beach City Manager Tom Leahy.
This concept or this narrative that people are trying to push out there that there is a toxic environment throughout the city is just not going to, isn't supported by these numbers.
These are the average numbers on the survey in 6 categories. Employees seem positive, mostly in the 70s and 60%. Those that disagree, very low percentages.
I will admit that in any group of employees, there are some that will be unhappy.
We asked Leahy, who was Director of Public Utilities for 13 years, about toxic work environment.
Out of nearly 3,000 comments in the survey, the word toxic occurred only 10 times and only once from the departments in Building 2.
The two sides will likely never agree about the state of the Virginia Beach work environment, but it is clear the tragedy has left open wounds.
The individuals that we lost, I don't ever want to forget them. And this is a reminder for me of what we lost.
Jack Freeman sent out a memo to the Virginia Beach school officials today updating them on their findings. In this case, 9 sources at some of the same schools had already been tested. But in that first report, they were misidentified. The schools that have since found they were elevated were at Bayside High, Lynn Haven Middle, Lynn Haven Elementary, Green Run Elementary, North Landing Elementary, and 2 sources at Bayside Middle and Pembroke Elementary. In the letter, they say they have since been secured and corrections and retesting are in progress. In the letter sent to parents, it assured parents that based on the water lead concentrations, there's a very low risk in children solely from water consumption. The school system says they are committed to keeping parents informed every step of the way going forward.
In May of last year, Jessica Brennanman heard the unthinkable.
I heard the words, "You have breast cancer."
She was devastated, but she picked herself up and did the unthinkable. Bodybuilding.
And I really think being active and being involved in fitness is helping me defeat cancer. And I'm beating it right now.
Jessica says she found strength here at the gym, and not just because she was lifting more weights, it meant so much more than that.
I was very nervous to get on stage because I have a chemo port and I'm missing a breast, and it took a lot for me to get on stage.
After 7 months of training, Jessica lost the 64 pounds she gained from chemo and competed in Baltimore last month.
I got on stage with a huge smile on my face and just went up there, did my poses, and I won.
She won first place in the Armed Forces category and medaled in other divisions. But training for the competition wasn't easy. The side effects of radiation was taking over parts of her body.
It would literally burn my skin, like it turned like red and everything, like on my chest and under my arm.
With the support of her 2 kids and trainer, she persevered. She'll have reconstruction surgery next month and plans to train for more shows next year.
You can take my hair, you can take my tattoos, but you can never take my fight.
And fight she will. Madison Glassman, 10 on your side.
Well, it's Traffic Incident Response Awareness Weekend. VDOT employees say it's so important that the community helps them with moving over during incidents.
The problem that we have, and I teach traffic management all over Virginia, most people are always in a hurry. They're worried about going from point A to point B. They drive basically in tunnel vision.
VDOT employees are working to get the word out about drivers slowing down and moving over. Phil Fauner with VDOT's incident management team says it's an important message, especially as of late.
As a lot of you know, I've had 3 SSP, Safety Service Patrollers, hit within 12 hours.
And Fauner himself has had some near-death experiences out on the job.
The first time I got hit, I was in my vehicle. It was a hit and run. I got rear-ended. The state police estimated that the individual was going between 100 and 110 miles an hour. I never saw it coming. Did a couple of 360s in the road, ended up on the Jersey wall. I ended up with a broken neck.
And while light needs to be shed on the bad, there are also instances that demonstrate what happens when drivers and VDOT crews work together. VDOT Operations Program Manager for the Monitor Merrimack Bridge Tunnel, Timothy Morrison, says on October 18th, crews got a call for a disabled vehicle in the tunnel. He says they quickly found out it was a single vehicle crash.
The first responder and a bystander broke the window, got the gentleman out, quickly assessed that he was not breathing.
Morrison was able to get through the tunnel quickly and efficiently to save the man's life.
We were able to administer 2 shocks and about 5 to 6 cycles of CPR.
He says drivers moving over it in this instance was crucial. They were able to get everything cleaned up safely in 45 minutes.
The goal of this week is to educate drivers, passengers, and responders about incidents like this, and they say everyone has a role to play when it comes to traffic safety. I'm Aisha Tolliver, 10 on your side.
Well, police say 21-year-old Desmond Smith died here at the scene, and police just wrapped up the scene here at the 7-Eleven on West Main Street. But take a look at this video. Officers were called here to this 7-Eleven just before 11 o'clock last night. And when they got here, they found Smith on the ground outside of the gas station with multiple gunshot wounds. And we could see about a dozen evidence markers outside on the ground, and the forensics unit was processing the scene for several hours, looking in and around a dark colored car, and they also went inside of the 7-Eleven, and it looked like they were reviewing some security camera footage inside. Now, officers are still investigating this as a homicide. They have not released any suspect information at this time. If you know what led up to this deadly shooting, you are asked to call Smithfield Police. In Smithfield, Kiana Patterson, 10 on your side.
When we got the call, we answered.
What happened at Sewell's Point nearly 80 years ago has left a legacy of kindness that saved lives.
It's a little-known story in American history, world history.
August 9th, 1940, more than a year before the United States entered World War II, the SS Kwanza left Lisbon, Portugal with 317 passengers, mostly Jewish refugees fleeing the Nazis.
Jews had had their citizenship taken away, they weren't allowed to go to school, they weren't allowed to work in professions, and they were essentially becoming, they were in many places literally becoming ghettoized.
The Kwanza first stopped in New York City, but 121 passengers were denied entry. Much of America at that time was isolationist, not wanting to take sides in another European war. After a stop in Mexico, the Kwanza and its 80-plus passengers stopped for coal in Norfolk.
The folks on the ship were not allowed to disembark at all, so this group of dedicated women made home-cooked meals, took them to the ship.
Such acts of conscience inspired a new documentary film, Nobody Wants Us.
Who would have thought that refugees even came here? I didn't know that they came here until someone told me about this story.
Annette Lockman is one of those stories. She was just 3 years old, looking to join her father. Her wide eyes saw the promise of America.
Looking through the porthole was my sister, my mother, and I. And my father was on the dock, and he was reaching with his hand up to us. And the journalist took this photograph.
The Kwanza stayed in Norfolk 6 days, while Newport News attorney Jacob Morowitz filed a lawsuit on behalf of 4 refugees against the passenger line.
And they had this look of real terror in their eyes.
Walter Rosenberg joined the Navy in 1944, but 4 years earlier, he remembers his home on Graydon Avenue as a sanctuary for a woman and her teenage daughter.
They had very few possessions with them. They had just small suitcases with a few clothes in it, and that was it. What did she want most of all? A cup of coffee, real coffee, because they had nothing but this ersatz stuff that was made of sawdust.
Finally, after passengers sent a telegram to First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, she pressured the State Department to interview them, and all were granted asylum, much to the chagrin of the Assistant Secretary of State, Brackenridge Long.
He was concerned that there were either Nazi spies or communist spies among the passengers of the ship. Obviously, he didn't meet the passengers of the ship, who were basically families who were clearly escaping with nothing but what they could carry.
That escape led them through Norfolk.
They just poured down the dock with down the gangway, and some of them kissed the ground, and smiles on their faces. And that was worth every bit of effort that we put in.
All for a second chance in America.
Her life just started and it's gone. It's ending. So, not cool at all.
It's hard to understand why anyone would take a life.
Every time you turn around, you got to get another RIP t-shirt or something of that nature. I got more RIP t-shirts than I got regular clothes, and it's a shame.
Neighbors along Acorn Street in Chesapeake heard the sound of gunfire late last night.
I heard 2 shots and then I heard screaming. I don't know if they was yelling help. I just heard, oh my God, and then you didn't hear anything else.
When I came outside, I seen caution tape everywhere, and I heard it was a young lady on the ground.
When police arrived, they found a 21-year-old woman who'd been shot.
Growing up around this area, I'd have seen it so many times, and a 21-year-old, it's so sad.
She was rushed to the hospital where she died. Friday, just hours after the tragedy, detectives were back in the neighborhood searching for clues. They put up signs hoping the community can help find a killer.
When I heard the scream, I wish I could have did something different. Everybody's unfortunately not a hero.
Neighbors are feeling the heartbreak. They know a young life was taken far too soon.
It's not fair, and it's not right.
Kelly Allure says the Animal Aid Society in Hampton has her heart.
I started volunteering here in 2013 when my dog passed away from cancer. My mom always told me, if you're sad, help those that need help, and maybe that'll cheer you up. And she was right.
But now the place she loves may soon be forced to shut down.
We need to be here. It's important. What we do is important.
Animal Aid Society President Sharon Bealey says the shelter has been out of compliance with state regulations since 2016. In order to be back up to code, they need to rebuild.
The state requires that the enclosures that the dogs are kept in have an impervious bottom that is sanitizable. Because of our ability to provide an outdoor access area for our dogs, ours have a dirt run, which is not a sanitizable surface.
So these are our kennels, and as you can see, this is the outdoor section, and it is a dirt run. So that area cannot be properly sanitized if a dog has worms, if it has parvo.
Bealey says they're a private shelter, so they don't have the same access to funds as the public ones. She estimates building the new dog shelters will cost between $1.5 to $2 million. So they're reaching out to the community for donations. Bealey said since they've been out of compliance so long, fines will start to pick up and they could have to shut down the entire operation.
So this isn't just a, oh, this is awful. This is really an opportunity for us to build a brand new facility that's going to serve our dogs and the animals in our care for the next 50 years.